Yeah, I'm Jason, and we're at Slabtown Cider, just south of Uxbridge on Concession 6. And we're here with the cider crate, and we're going to do a nice tasting. Slabtown comes from the village of Siloam, where we got a lot of our trees. Siloam Orchards used to be a thriving business, and it went through some changes, and we made a deal with them, and we brought over a lot of the varieties from there. So Siloam is located just about 5 minutes west of Uxbridge, and it used to be called Slabtown in the late 1800s. So it used to be a sawmill community, and where Mill Run Golf Course is, the mill is actually still there, the mill wheel there. So that's where our name came from.
And it's moved here and relocated and found a pretty good home, it seems like it.
Yeah.
You're also looking to expand into some distillery and some spirits, are you?
We are. I know that's not been a huge focus right now, but with the COVID pandemic starting, we were approached by the mayor of the town and said, hey, can you make hand sanitizer for the frontline workers? And we said, sure, let's do it. So we started with that, and it just evolved into, we always had plans to build a distillery here, but small steps all the way through. We sort of move things forward a little bit quicker. So yes, we will have a gin bar and manufacture our apple brandy, and a lot of barrel-aged product that fruit from the farm we're going to utilize in the whole process. We have peach trees, we have pear trees, we have apricot, we have lots of fruit here. So hopefully utilize everything for that.
And Dave joined us here. You're the cider maker extraordinaire, we're told.
Yeah, I've heard a few different descriptions, but
and we've got quite a selection you have here for us. So why don't you take us quickly through this one, and we can start from there.
Yeah, so that's the Founder's Dry. It's our first and flagship cider, so straightforward, just apple flavor, fairly dry. It comes in at about 14 grams of sugar per liter, and ends up working as the base for some of our other sort of drier ones. But yeah,
cheers.
Cheers.
It sounds great on the podcast. So tell me, first of all, a little bit about where we're at right now. Brand new facility, still in the process of adding on to it. What are you doing here?
Well, we're moving most of our seating to the outdoors, as beautiful COVID has forced us to do. So we have a patio which normally we can hold about 250 people, but we're down to about 65, 70 tables and chairs on the patio right now. Hoping to add another 150 very shortly. So outdoors is going to be very, very good here. Mm-hmm. We're adapting.
Yeah. And why here? Why the region? Is there a story on the space, or?
Nobody's ever done it here in North Durham. Nobody's ever put a cidery in, and we were one of the first. And we thought, Uxbridge needs a destination. We've always wanted a hospitality restaurant, eatery, farm, destination place, and this has been my home for the past 40 years. So I just wanted to do it here. So got good support from the town and everybody around here. Sort of, if you build it, they'll come. So. And
Dave, how did you get connected into it?
Well, I've known Jay for about 25 years. I actually have been in IT for 30 years. He came to visit me one day and said, I just bought a plot of land and we're going to start a cidery. And I said, well, you know what? I said, I had my first cider 30 years ago. I went to my grandmother's 80th birthday in Scotland and had a Strongbow on tap, and then we had some Scrumpies, and I was hooked ever since.
Hi, Barry.
Barry, nice to meet you. Sorry I'm late.
We're chatting on our podcast, so welcome to join us and grab a seat and tell us a little bit more about yourself. So we've got another guest that's just joined us. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how you're involved with the cidery here?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Lori Fatima, and I'm a co-owner of Slabtown Cider.
Excellent, and it's a gorgeous Friday afternoon here towards the middle of summer, as we said, 2020 COVID. That's obviously caused some challenges this year for you. How have you been adapting to that?
Well, one of our key things that we did this year, we started producing our own hand sanitizer. And
So that brought in some new people. We very quickly went online, quicker than we expected to. That was online platform. We had our website, but then we just moved it to online. We did our drive-through, which was very successful. We had it all set up and people would just drive in, they ordered ahead. And then we also had free delivery for Uxbridge to keep, because there was a point there in the beginning where everybody was encouraged to stay at home, so we supported that.
And now it's phase 3 opening up a bit more. You've got people coming in, your outdoor patio here. You've got some plans to add some more patio space as well. Very neat. Actually, before we started recording, you mentioned that next door you have some guests that are there quite often and busy. So that's even another draw. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, the property next door to us is called Wood Newton, and it's been the home to the O Cup, the downhill mountain bike O Cup, every year for a long time. One of the stops on the race series. So they have about 2,500 people. Some years 15 to 2,500 people all racing through the property, which is a great draw for us because people will love cider after they ride. So.
We're on to our second sample here. What do we have, Dave?
This is our Bitter Sharp. So again, another nice dry cider. It's actually a wet hopped cider. What you'll get out of it though is not the hoppy aroma. You just get the bitterness, which makes it seem a little drier than it actually is. It's also the one that we call our crossover for the wine drinkers. So this one's going to be the one that's going to taste most like a white wine and draw them over, fill that gap between switching winemakers to drinking cider.
Have you found that there's you have to go through an education with people, or are people sort of really understanding what you're offering, knowing it's not your Somersby or your Strongbows?
I mean, it runs the gamut. Some people are quite well educated and they know what they like. We tend to, make sure that we have a lot of dry ciders available. We do kind of swing up the sweet scale a little bit, but even our sweetest cider is probably half the sugar of a Somersby. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that whatever, fruit or other flavorings we put in there, we got to make sure we respect those while still respecting the apple flavor. So it's, light enough that you still get an apple, but making sure that the fruit can sing. So it's a matter of just making it as sweet as it needs to be versus forcing it to be dry and then kind of losing that flavor.
And you've got quite a selection of options here. How did you get to 9, it looks like it?
Yeah, we've got 9 on offer now. We've got about 3 or 4 others that were seasonals that we've taken off. So we had Cider House Rules was our mulled cider that we had from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And we had, what was his name? John Irving. John Irving was the author of the Cider House Rules book. He actually came here and did a book signing and gave us the permission to use the name. So we had that for the winter. Took that off. We actually just brought Sweet Maple Heat to an end for this year, so we had a maple for maple season, but we've just taken that off. We're going to try and replace it with a honey habanero, so again playing with that sweet and spicy kind of feel. We had mint basil in the winter, but I feel it doesn't work as well in the summer, so we replace it with the mint cucumber for the summer, so those two will just go opposite. So yeah, we've probably done about 15 flavors in total, but we've got 9 on offer now. We did our first barrel aged back in the spring. We had some tequila barrels and did a ciderita, so a margarita inspired cider. Because it's in a barrel, you only get 200 bottles out of it, and those 200 bottles sold in 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I don't think a weekend goes by where I don't get at least 3 people saying, "When's the ciderita coming back?" It's like, well, it's barrel aged, you can't rush it.
Is there plans to expand outside of your offerings here? And I believe you're in a couple bars and restaurants around as well.
We haven't actually gone outside of the property here as present. We do have a big list right now, and we want to be able to roll out properly. And just keeping up with the demand here as it is pretty tough. So we have plans, obviously, to go to bars, restaurants, and distribution, but not until we're ready.
Yeah.
Right.
And with COVID, with some of the rules, with the fact that you're getting a little bit more value for selling direct, it obviously makes sense to be supporting those that are willing to come and make it a destination, because that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Are there other events that you've had to, say, cancel this year that you would have loved to have done and you're moving towards maybe in 2021?
Yeah, we had a few small parties scheduled. People love this landscape. They like the experience and they want to share it with their friends and family. So they've asked us to host weddings. So we had a few weddings we had to cancel and move to 2021. But in most cases, we've just said, you know what, we'll pick a date next year and hopefully things will be a lot different. We do have one wedding that's still happening and they've just adjusted their numbers. Thankfully, we're in phase 3, so they're able to do that nicely. They'll have a bit inside and outside. And they were a couple that met next door, so it's a big part of their story to get married here. They're really hanging on to that, so we're supporting them with that.
They're gonna get on their bikes and their tux and the dress, and that would be
part of the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually met right in this field over here during one of the downhill cup events at Wood Newton, and the rest is history.
Well, you'll have to put something up as a commemoration or something of that nature. That's really funny. So.
Oh yeah, we did hint hops.
I don't remember talking about it.
Sure.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about what we just tried?
Yeah, so the hint of hops is our second hop cider, but this one's a dry hop, so it's you're getting the floral hoppy aroma, but without the bitterness.
Do you get people asking about the differences as they come up, and then there's a preference one or the other, or do you get most people, from what we've seen with the hops, it is sort of the easy way to transition a beer drinker?
Exactly that. So basically, we use the bitter sharp as the filling the gap for wine drinkers, and then the hint of hops to bring the beer drinkers over.
Very cool. You said you had some partnerships as well, or some work with some of the other local breweries.
We're working on that right now, and we have a tied house license for the property. So we will be featuring North Durham breweries and other cideries as well. So we're just trying to keep everything Uxbridge and Durham North right now, and then we'll expand in the future.
Very neat.
Yeah, that's it. That's one thing that we've done so far, I think, with our marketing strategy is we haven't done a lot of paid advertising here at Slabtown. It's been a lot of collaborations. We did sponsorships when we first started. We went out to a lot of events before we even opened up our farm store. And now we rely a lot on word of mouth and social media. So we will obviously do some paid advertising down the road. We do have it in our plan, but right now it's working for us, just the word of mouth and the partnerships and the collaborations. Yeah,
Durham tourism has been very good for us. As Uxbridge Township's been amazing. Central Counties has been a big part of our program as well. So we thank them.
And we're barely 10-15 minutes after opening, and you've easily got a dozen people here as well. So it seems like it's going quite well. You have other offerings than just drinks on site. What else can you get on the property?
Well, we have a charcuterie board, which we're actually bringing up very shortly for both of you to try. And then we also, because our eatery is not quite open, we've partnered with Temptations Food Truck, which is part of Anina's in Goodwood. And they offer everything from wraps, salad, they have steak on a bun, they have ribs and fries. All good, easy food to enjoy on the patio. Yeah, that's what we have.
And because we've got a whole bunch more to go through, and we don't want to make the discussion here a 40-minute podcast, Dave, why don't you tell us about a couple of the other ones that you have as offerings here?
Sure. Yeah, so what we're going to try now is the mint cucumber, so pretty self-descriptive. Originally we thought about coming up with, the fun names and stuff for things, and we just went, no, let's just call it what it is. So mint cucumber. This was one of the first ones that really, I think, developed that multi-layer effect, which I really like. So if you've seen Ratatouille, that take two things and combine them and make a new thing, mint cucumber is that. So you really get the cucumber in the front, and then the mint kicks in at the back end. So that's why I really wanted to work with some more of those. The legendary cherry was the second one that we released, and that's using a Niagara Montmorency sour cherry versus the black cherry, which I find invariably comes out too sweet. So it's still a nice tart cider, still fairly dry. The black currant was, again, just trying to pull the same thing from the cherry. The black currant's a much more European flavor, so a lot of Europeans are very familiar with black currant, so that's an easy start for them. And then we started getting into things like a little more sort of cocktail flavor, so the mojito de manzana or apple mojito, lots of fresh lime and mint. The pineapple mimosa has been a great hit. That's the one where I said I'll say to customers, that's the one where we give you an excuse to start drinking in the morning, because who doesn't like a mimosa in the morning? So that one works really well. Fresh pineapples in there. And then our newest release is the watermelon thyme. So again, another one of those multi-layers where, you know, you get the watermelon and then the thyme just sort of has that earthy grounding to it. And we honestly can't make that fast enough. Like, as soon as we put it on the shelf, it's gone. It's been a really big hit.
Quite a few offerings, and then as winter rolls around and next season comes around, you'll have a couple other things as well, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the options here are endless, because not only do we have all of the different fruits, herbs and vegetables that we can play with, we've got a really large collection of apple trees here. So we've got, I think we've got about 30,000 trees planted, over 400 varieties. So we can do just a ton of single varietals, you know, once the orchard matures. We've got a lot of the old English, French, and Spanish apples. So we've got, you know, your typical, Kingston Blacks and Dabinets, and we've got the Médaille d'Or from France. And, so we can really start introducing a lot of those. So, I mean, you know, I fast forward 5 years from now, we'll probably blast through 200-300 different flavors.
Exciting.
An exciting and an ambitious project, and it looks like coming into launching and growing and developing, you've got quite the destination spot here. If people are looking for more information, how can they find out about you and maybe where you can get your product? Because it's all right here, right now.
Yeah, they can just go to slabtowncider.com, or they can find us at Slabtown Cider on the main social platforms, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to trying some of this and some of the food options you're bringing over as well. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for coming by.